Hello and welcome back to the Spider's Web. And in the last video I pointed out, well, the beginning of part 1 of the last video, I pointed out what this week's deliberate mistake. It was a good one. The deliberate mistake was I glued these down to the base, tight around the actual vertical stand there, and as soon as I'd finished gluing them all down I realised, how on earth am I going to get down there to paint the bases? I'm trying to work out what will be the best way of doing this now, as to whether or not I should paint the whole stand black, which is something I don't particularly want to do, but it may be the only option I've got. I can't believe how stupid I was for doing that, but there we go. As you can see, I've sprayed, I've undercoated the bases, or the base black now. And what we're going to be doing is a series of browns. We're not doing what we call standard rock formations on this. We're going to be using, is that the old one? Yeah, that's the old one. Why have I got to put it back in the box? We're going to be using different colours of browns and very extreme highlights with the white scar, and that's going to be all over. But first of all, what I want to do is shake the rhinox side first off, and we're going to go all the way around the base edge with the rhinox side, and actually all over the base with this as well. And as you can see, the dark earth textured paint I got, it's left a nice effect. It's different from the sand, which is what I wanted. I'm going to be obviously putting more stuff on this as well. Obviously the static grass and maybe a few other bits and pieces as well I can find, just to make it slightly different, because I don't want to do, when I'm doing stones usually I've been doing it black and then lighter shades of grey, or progressively lighter shades of grey up to white. In this I just wanted to do something more of a different style altogether, so that's why I'm going for browns. It's more of a sandstone rather than a, is it igneous rock rather than, what's the other one? Oh, I don't know. I know there's a difference in the types of rock, but we'll soon find out. I could actually do something use some clump foliage that you'd use for model railway stuff. I could try and use some of that on here around the top of the around the top of the rock formations, to disguise some of the cork that's showing through. I could get away with doing something like that. Bear in mind, this is nowhere near finished as yet. We're just basically colouring in now. We've done the structure of it, and now it's a case of adding details and things. So as I said, I could get away with put in little clumps of, is it lichen or whatever it's called, that they use for clump foliage for model railway. For other things as well. I think it's also used for, in some way, for oh, what do you call it, flower arranging, but I may be wrong on that. But you see, it's just a case of slap the paint on and try and hide all of the black that's there. You'll not get it all, but just try and hide as much as you can. Your brush won't get into certain parts of it, but if you miss any of the black, don't worry about it. It's just going to cast a deeper shadow, or going to look as though it's a deeper shadow than should have sort of than what you planned it being, but it is of no consequence. There's no right or wrong way of doing all this. There's the easy way and the hard way, and as you know, I try to go for the easy way because I try, as I think I mentioned before, I try to encourage people who are new to the hobby into doing things rather than show off what skill I may or may not have in the painting department, as it were. As it stands, I'm doing things to the best of my ability, but I keep trying new things, which really is the only way we can learn how to improve. I mean, all the new stuff that I've done for this, I've never tried using green stuff properly in this way. Whenever I've used green stuff, it's been basically for trying to hide over gaps in joins and things like that with models. I've never actually used it to create any form of decoration, so that is something, again, I've learned by doing this. It may not be the best effect, but for my first time of doing it and doing it on camera, you know, it's not a case of having the luxury of being able to take my time to do it. It's been a case of get it done as quick as you can, because, as they say, time is money, and I don't want to be going. I know these videos are usually very long in comparison to other people's videos of the same type, but I like going into showing you a lot more than rather just glossing over things. I want to explain how and why I'm doing certain things, and not just doing them in the hope that you'd work it out yourself. I mean, as time has gone on with these videos, I've assumed that you've been watching the earlier ones, and I'm just going over things and time and again, and just really having a bit of a rant and well, not a rant, but just waffling along while I'm painting. And I have a tendency when I do things like that of thinking, what am I talking about, when I come down to editing it, and just either cut it to make it shorter or speed it up and put some music over so you can't see what I'm saying, which sometimes is believe me, it's a good thing. You really don't want to listen to half of the rubbish I'm talking about. I'm just blapping on. I'm just talking for seems to be no reason whatsoever, getting myself all tongue-tied and all confused, and by the time I've finished, even I don't know what I've talked about. But well. let's just make sure all this area is covered in the brown, and then when it's all dry we can go over with a paler colour of brown, which will be Steel Legion drab. And there we go. I'll move it there so you can actually see what I've done. It does look, from this angle, it doesn't look incredibly, shall we say, attractive. It looks like something you'd flush, but you know, it's there. Most of black is covered. It does look incredibly disgusting, but still, it won't be when I've finished. Believe me, it won't be when I've finished. Okay, now, in the last video as well, I pointed out that I had changed my mind about the scales, and I didn't use the final, well, I didn't use the last thing I was doing, which was the was it the Steel Legion drab mixed with the Dawn's Runefang steel. What I did instead is I went over with a fine detail brush each scale with Castellan green, completely over it, and then again with the fine detail brush and using the Elysian green, I decided which was the top and bottom, and for some strange reason on that one I've done all the highlighting parts on the bottom edge. So what I can do in that respect is I can go over them all again in Castellan green and show you exactly what I did. You see, even when you're trying to watch what you're doing, you can make mistakes. I'm making mistakes all the time and having to rectify myself. So what I'm going to do is, as I say, I'm going to go over each of the scales with the Castellan green. I won't need to do it on the top section because I got myself mixed up and thought that was the bottom section and didn't highlight any of it, because obviously it was going to be underneath. So let's get the scales on this done. At least I'm glad I've done this and made this mistake, because I can actually go over and show you how I achieve the effect that I've got so far. Admittedly, I wanted to show you something else straight away with this, but I was going to have to wait for a few moments. It doesn't take long, as you can see. It really doesn't take long. If you've got some paint on your brush, you can do it in near enough one stroke, because these scales, I would say, are not the biggest bits of detail that you've got on the model, so it's just a case of colour them in. Next, to drying the brush, we go back to the Elysian green, and all we've done for this is just dab on this surface where it's going to be more noticeable because it's on the top like a flat edge. We'll do in the middle of each of the scales, leaving an area of the Castellan green showing. There we are. That's that done. As you can see, that's how I did it on that. I've done it a little differently on that one, but it's the same effect really. and then as you go down here you want to do a little less from the middle and just along the top edges. I'll say it doesn't take long to do this. It really doesn't take long. But what I wanted to show you was the next stage of this, because I started doing this while I was watching something on TV. Well, it wasn't something on TV, it was a DVD or something. No, it was something I was watching on BBC iPlayer, and I just started off doing this, and I got myself again a little bit carried away in what I was doing. And ended up doing every piece, well, not every piece, both pieces, and there we are. What I wanted to show you, which you can do now, not a problem, is scorpion green. Whether this will work I'm not sure with the, I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a bit too blurry. I think it's going to be a bit too bright. It is, so I'm not going to do that. It's not what I wanted, so I'm going to leave it as is. I think that will do fine. It does the job, so I don't really need to do any more to it. And strangely enough, I'm not going to do any more to it. So we have, as you can see now, the missile launchers are done, or the missiles in them are done. I've gone through the I've looked at, usually gone to the front and done the metal parts on the inside. I've done the metal grills on the back, and I've even done those in the Runefang stick. What else I've done, which I don't think I've shown you yet, I've done both of the tail sections. I've done that, and when I was doing the hinges there, I forgot those hinges down here as well, which I haven't quite finished. So let's get the Runefang steel on the go again. And it's just one near enough brush down, and again on this side. The idea is to just make it look as though there's a little bit of metal there. I'm also going to do, in fact I'm not going to do it in that, I'm going to do it in the darker one, which is where's that gone? Where's that gone? Where's that gone? Is that it? Iron Breaker. I'm going to do the once I can get the lid to stay up, I'm going to do the ladders that lead into the cockpit. There we are. And hopefully, well, I'm saying hopefully, I should really tell you, start from the beginning of what I was going to say. As you may have noticed, I put on the last video that I could put up from our Games Night series, which is Chaos in the Old World. I hope you enjoyed what I've posted so far. We have another Games Night planned for Thursday, which is Halloween, so you can just imagine what theme we're going to be having. Obviously it's going to be a nice horror theme, so I'm not saying any more of what we're going to be planning, but I'm just hoping you're going to enjoy the video, and I've got a feeling it's going to be a long one. So Anita and Steve will be back with me again on Thursday evening, and I found out the other night that Steve gets the keys for his new house on Thursday, so it may start off where it's just me and Anita having a two-player game of something. I don't know yet, but we'll soon find out depending on what's happening with him. Well, hopefully all goes well with that for him, and we may get to play something, or we may get to do a video series, or one of the video evenings from his. We did go to Anita's on Tuesday, but I didn't take my camera because I was absolutely, shall we say, knackered. I'd had a long day at Wrightington Hospital. It was the reopening of the radio station, or the official reopening, or the official opening of the radio station, plus the 40th anniversary celebrations for the station. Because of everything that went on last year when it should have been the opening, we didn't actually do anything to celebrate, but with the new station, the new start, we thought it might be the right time to do so, and it was. We had a really nice afternoon, and then I finished the day with an evening round at Anita's, playing a couple of games with Anita and Steve, and there we go. We found out as well that there is a game on the market which which was given a while ago. It was a Tomb Raider one. It's blooming awful, don't bother with it. Unless you've got young children who they might enjoy it. Oh dear, not for grown-ups. Not for grown-ups. But still. Right, so that's the Angry Bee almost complete.